Even as President Putin's war continues, we will remain focused on the most serious long-term challenge to the international order, and that's posed by the People's Republic of China. China is the only country with both the intent to reshape the international order and, increasingly, the economic, diplomatic, military, and technological power to do it.
Secretary of State there, Antony Blinken, explaining why the Biden administration plans to leverage international support against Russia's invasion of Ukraine into a bigger coalition to counter China. Michael Allen is a former special assistant to President George W. Bush, also a former senior director for counter-proliferation strategy at the National Security Council. Thank you so much for talking to us. Okay, so we just heard Blinken there talking about the world's opposition to Russia's invasion of Ukraine. But what he talks about is a larger threat, a larger long-term threat, and that is the threat of China. What is our position? What should our position be? What should the Biden administration's position be on tackling that threat in the future?
Well, thanks so much for having me. Secretary Blinken laid out a strategy yesterday that the United States should invest, align with its allies, and compete with China. I thought it was a rather soft speech given the stakes. I thought it should have been more about how to blunt and confront China. One, China's doubled the size of their military over the last 10 years. I would have liked to have heard more about what the United States strategy is to deter China in Asia. And I'd like to hear more about how American jobs are affected by the confrontation with China. At a minimum, they steal millions, sometimes billions of dollars in intellectual property here in the United States through cyber theft and other means. And we need to get a handle on these kind of things so that we have a foreign policy that helps with the United States workers.
Blinken says the U.S. is to rely on alliances, trade, and investment to counter China. How does the U.S. put enough financial pressure on China to lessen their threat?
We need to reach out in a more wholesome way to our allies in the region. The Biden administration did put forth a measure this past week on an economic arrangement, but I would have wished it had been more aggressive. How are we going to lock China out of allies or potential allies in countries in Southeast Asia that are on the fence? We need, and the Europeans need, to help invest in those countries so they don't fall into China's orbit and eventually come back and harm the United States.
Okay. U.S. efforts to impose new sanctions, I want to talk about this, on North Korea, blocked by China and Russia. How has their alliance impacted world order?
Well, you've seen it already in the Russian invasion of Ukraine. China is taking the oil and gas that Russia can no longer sell in Europe and elsewhere, and otherwise just helping bail them out in general. It's the same story with North Korea, Iran, Venezuela, and other countries around the world that seek to thwart the United States. So it's a challenge to the United States to have two big authoritarian powers like Russia and China allied so closely. And I didn't hear much in a strategy yesterday about how to split those two countries like President Nixon and Henry Kissinger did so many years ago. Ultimately, that's something we've got to get a handle on.
All right, Michael Allen, thank you so much for talking to us. Have a wonderful weekend. Thank you.
Thank you.
Hi, everyone. I'm Brian Kilmeade. I want you to do me a favor. I want you to click to subscribe to the Fox News YouTube page. This is the only way that I know for sure that you're not going to miss any great commentary, any great news bites, any great interviews coming your way on Fox. You can get it all here on YouTube. So subscribe right now.